if you're in London, as I am, you will know all about the case of Tower Hamlets. It's a borough in London, but multiple failings meant the Metropolitan Police failed to catch electoral fraud during the 2014 Tower Hamlets mayoral election. Former Mayor Luftur Rahman was found guilty of corrupt and illegal practices by an election court in 2015 after a long police operation. Now, the 2014 mayoral election in Tower Hamlets was overturned following a 6-week High Court hearing which found evidence of vote rigging and malpractice. Now, we've now moved on to 2020, but who would have thought that the United States elections would result in the entire US system being discredited in the same way as Tower Hamlets? The reason is that all the authorities in the United States are desperately trying to cover up the malpractice, which is obvious. We know that Donald Trump won the election. That's a fact. All the votes on the day, which is the day that they gave for the election, those votes were counted and Donald Trump was the clear winner. Now, what happened during the night, the Democrats brought in loads of boxes of voters, so-called, many of whom were dead, and added them to the pile. So we went to bed that night, I think November 4th or 3rd, something like that. We went to bed thinking Donald Trump had won the election, but woke up to find that the Democrats had stolen it. This is quite normal American practice. Many years ago, I was over in the United States to do with the Watergate affair. When I came back to England, I was speaking to a friend of mine, Mr. Malcolm Muggeridge, and he was talking to us. He said, well, of course, all American elections are corrupt. So this one is no different. But the Democrats have become the party of corruption. The entire US is now Tower Hamlets. And I think that Nancy Pelosi is the witch of Endor. Who would have believed that the entire USA, every state in the Union, could become purveyors of the Tower Hamlets debased political culture? Yet such is the case. If the US Electoral College goes ahead with the Democratic plan to steal the election, it's 2020 putsch, then we can say goodbye to the USA as a major power in the world. How can the State Department ever again lecture the aggrieved citizens of, for example, Belarus or the dissidents in Hong Kong on the merits of US-style democracy when the US system is so obviously flawed? Now, one of the leading women on the Democratic, that is the Satanist side, is Nancy Pelosi, the new witch of Endor. To find out about the first witch of Endor, you have to go to 1 Samuel 28. Saul said to his servants, seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirit, that I may go to her. And his servant said, behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor. So Saul went to Endor, and the dead prophet Samuel appeared to him and said, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? He then told Saul he'd lost the election. That is, he'd lost the election of God. So Nancy Pelosi, the witch, this madwoman, this deranged demoniac, a fake Catholic, and an apostate from the true faith needs to give the same message to Joe Biden. You've lost, brother. If you try and hang on by fraud, as he's seeking to do, by deceit, by Mugabe and Tower Hamlet's methods, you will inevitably arouse such anger among the American people that you will have to flee your basement to some friendly state if you can find one. I'm disturbed by what's happened in the United States. Pelosi still claims to be a Catholic, yet she supports partial birth abortion. Pelosi and Joe Biden will soon find out when they cross to the other side. Of course, Biden is now pally with the anti-pope Francis in Rome, the gay activist who has overturned centuries of church teaching at his own will to say we must have gay marriage. But anyway, Pelosi and Francis and Joe Biden will find out on the other side whether they're true Catholics or not. Depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. I would add just now about Great Britain, we are facing a COVID emergency. It's peaking, going up all the time. Yesterday there were 565 deaths. Now the reason for this is it's the judgment of God. And Boris Johnson, the bovine idiot, has no comprehension of this, such a concept. He doesn't believe there's any need to call the nation to prayer. His mistress runs Downing Street, has just sacked the other chap, Ed, I've forgotten his name now, Cummings. Anyway, she's just sacked him because she is now running the show in Britain. Don't worry about Boris. He just does what she says. We must hope and pray that this plague will be assuaged, but it won't be assuaged until the Queen calls the nation to repentance and prayer. Repentance for the many sins of abortion, the many children who've been killed in National Health Service hospitals or by bogus charities like the BPAS and Mary Stopes. And the same is true in the United States of America. Until we stop killing children, this won't go away.